Sunday on Fox, a great doubleheader starts with the Vikings taking on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Then Drew Brees leads the Saints against Nick Foles and the Bears, or other regional action. It all kicks off at 1 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Terry Bradshaw is putting $1 million up for grabs again this week in this week's free-to-play Super 6 contest. All you have to do is correctly predict the outcome of 6 NFL games. Make sure you get your picks in before kickoff Sunday for your chance to be a millionaire. And for top stories, scores, and more, go to the Fox Sports app. Colin, Vikings-Packers is one of the matchups this week. Give us your winner and final score.
I'd say Green Bay by a touchdown. I will not bet a Minnesota game because I can't figure them out, because when I like the coach and I like your players, my propensity is to take you, but they're terrible. So I cannot figure Minnesota out. I like their GM, I like their owner, I like their coach, and I'm okay with their quarterback, and I like their skill people, and yet they're terrible. So I don't believe this is a bettable game for me. I would say it's a 6.5-point Fox bet spread. Vegas is telling you you should probably take the Packers on. If it was 7, it's a pass. 7.5, take Minnesota. 6.5 tells you bet Green Bay. So I'd probably bet Green Bay. But if I had the Vikings more than once on Blazing 5, I don't have no feel for them. With that, Eric Mangini, 5 years as an NFL head coach, Jets and Cleveland Browns, 3 rings with the Patriots, now joining us live. So listen, Antonio Brown to the Buccaneers. They don't need a receiver. Joy and I are like, yeah, we don't know if this thing's going to work. My gut feeling is you wouldn't be a huge fan of it. You know, you liked Good Luck. Or what do you make of it?
I'm actually a huge fan of it in this context, in this situation. So they're betting $1 million that it works out. And he's coming in. He should be extremely motivated, considering, first of all, how bad it goes in Oakland, how bad it goes in New England, how bad it goes when he's on the street. Now he finally gets this opportunity. He's coming in midway through the season. He's got a relationship with Tom Brady. Tampa's built really as a one-year team right now.
Yeah,
it's not really built for the long term. And I think Tom can manage this. And I think you're going to get a guy who's as motivated as he possibly can be to resurrect his career, because this is, I mean, I thought we were at the last chance. This has got to be the last chance. And he's insanely talented. So if it works out, it's a great thing for Tampa.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, Belichick's great. Nobody disputes it. But he has won only 43% of his games without Brady. Now, Brady's been around his career most of the time, so you could say that's unfair. But I didn't think it would be this bad. It is easy to blame Cam. I get it. But every great coach has a weakness. And I've always felt, I've told you this, Belichick drafting skill people. He's had 1 Pro Bowler since Gronk, and even he acknowledges Gronk was a little bit of a roll of the dice because he was hurt all through college. We can blame all we want on this. This organization is slow offensively. They've got no playmakers anywhere. I don't think it's an easy solve. I think you have to get a college quarterback somewhere. How does New England get out of this mess right now?
Well, there's a lot of truth to what you say about skill players. Bill had only drafted 1 receiver until N'Keal Harry in the first round in his, however many years he's been a head coach. That was back in Cleveland, like 94. It's not really where he's, he's focused. I think they can get back out of it. You saw in the first game this season, tons of quarterback-driven runs, to the point where I was worried if I was Cam's agent, I would have had a problem with it, with how many times he was getting hit. But it was very effective, and you saw how much that opened up the passing game the following week. Then I was impressed with how accurate Cam was, and the way that he was effectively throwing the ball, coming off the injury with so many questions. COVID hits, I don't know how much that's affected Cam. I'd say the starting point is getting back to what we always know about New England. They don't beat themselves. And I saw where someone was saying Cam need to get rid of the ball quicker. It's not that. It's eliminating the turnovers. Just start with that, and New England's going to be in every single game. And I think you do need to find a healthy balance of the quarterback-driven runs, like you see in Baltimore, with the passing game that's, maybe out of the empty sets, a little bit more traditional with what Cam's done well.
So Baker Mayfield said it's insensitive for all of us to insinuate they could be better without OBJ, but we've been saying this for 2 years. I never thought OBJ was a good fit. And the examples I used earlier were the Mariners got better when A-Rod left. The Nationals got better when Bryce Harper left. The Knicks made the finals when Patrick Ewing got hurt. And the theory is that sometimes a big superstar can shrink other players, can put pressure on a quarterback, put pressure on a franchise, and they can leave and go be great players. No, BJ will again be a great player. But Baker, I think, is better spreading the ball around as a young quarterback. That's what he did at Oklahoma. You live in Ohio. I mean, we've been saying this now for 2 years. I just never thought OBJ, the brand, the personality, I felt Baker was jamming it into him. I think Cleveland's going to be better now going and sprinkling the ball around the infield. Your thoughts?
Yeah, this isn't an Ohio thing or an Odell Beckham thing. This happens all the time in the league where you get a guy who's tremendously talented and has a giant personality and wants the ball consistently. I can tell you every good receiver I've been around, when they come to the sideline, they're open. They were always open. It doesn't matter when you show them the picture and they're double teamed, the coverage takes you somewhere else. They're open, they're frustrated, and you get some of these guys that are vocal or can be disruptive. And it's hard. It's hard as a veteran quarterback to deal with it. And it's hard as a veteran head coach to deal with it. But when you've got a first-year head coach, you've got a younger quarterback, that pressure mounts even more. And that's it's hard to argue that losing a great player helps your team. But there is something to be said for just being able to drop back to pass and throw the ball to the open receiver.
With Tampa making all these moves, and Seattle bringing in Carlos Dunlap, if you were coaching the Packers, would you, I mean, seriously, as a head coach, would you go to the GM and go, hey, we got to keep pace here a little bit, right? Doesn't Green Bay have to make a move?
Yeah, I heard you talking about that, and there is a lot of truth to that. They've averaged 35 points in their wins, and the one loss comes to Tampa Bay, who just adds Antonio Brown, and it does become somewhat of an arms race. People are scoring it at, a little bit of an unheard of pace. You watch Seattle and the amount of points that they put up. To be able to go and add another piece to this puzzle, I think would be a good thing, especially when you didn't do it in free agency. You didn't do it in the draft. You went the quarterback route. But, to say they never do it, last year they loaded up on defensive free agents. So this is not totally foreign to their DNA. Whether they'll do it at the trade deadline and whether Will Fuller is actually the answer, I don't know. But you're going to have to keep pace with other explosive offenses in the NFC.
Tua, what do you expect? I'm excited to watch him play. Joy spent a lot of time in Miami. I do worry that not to go on and on about this, but I've said in the history of the NFL, the best 30 quarterbacks, 28 are tall guys. And the small guys that work like Fran Tarkenton and Russell Wilson are runaround guys. And he's neither. He's not big, so he may have trouble seeing over lines, and he's not a wiggle guy that gets outside of the pocket much. I think he has to play like Drew Brees to work, and that's a tiny window to have to be one guy ever. I could see it not working. I could. What do you expect?
Well, here's my biggest concern is if this was truly the plan where he was going to come in after the bye and that would give enough time to learn the offense and run the offense and recover the best way possible, and that was the plan, then I'm all for it. If this is a function of maybe ownership saying, we see all these other rookie quarterbacks doing really well, I want my guy to play, then I'm not as excited about that. And I don't know where it is. The level of surprise that Fitzpatrick had when he got benched makes me think that this wasn't the plan all along to have him come in after the bye. So I struggle with that. If they really feel he's ready, then I'm all for it. And you're going to have to deal with a significant amount of mistakes that come with a rookie. My bigger concern, Colin, is that this is being forced a little bit quicker than maybe the head coach wanted to be.
That adds intrigue to it. That is very interesting. Let me bake on that a little bit. That is interesting.
Why wouldn't Ryan Fitzpatrick have known this was the plan all along? They've been very honest and open with the fact that he's a placeholder. The other young guys are suddenly doing really well. Now he's going to start. Plan all along, I'm all for it. If he's forced in, not too excited about it.
That's all right. I had never thought about that. I like new information. Eric Mangini in Ohio. Elections Tuesday. Go out and vote, Eric Mangini. Sit in line in those polls.
I hope you voted already, Colin. They have early voting out in California.
Oh, yes. I kind of know which way our state's leaning.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know which way our state's leaning. Well,
All right.
I do.
Coach, good seeing you.
Good seeing you guys.
By the way, gentlemen, stop phoning in your underwear. Get Tommy John. No risk. 15% off right now. TommyJohn.com/Hertz. What I'm wearing now. Joy Taylor with the news.
No.